You know that feeling when someone's tone shifts slightly and your body reacts before your mind does? It might be a pause in their voice, a shorter text than usual, a sigh that's probably about their day, but your chest tightens anyway. You replay the last thing you said, you scan for what you might have done wrong, and without anyone asking you to, you start adjusting, softer, nicer, more accommodating. Most people don't notice how quickly this happens inside you. From the outside, it can look like you're just thoughtful, considerate, easygoing, the person who keeps things smooth, the reliable one, the low-maintenance one. But inside, there's often a quiet calculation running. Are they okay with me? Did I let them down? Did I disappoint them? And if the answer feels uncertain, even slightly, something in you feels unsettled. This isn't just about being kind, and it's not simply about wanting to be liked. It's about the fear of disappointing others. And there's more going on here than people realize. When someone important to us seems disappointed, even subtly, the brain doesn't treat it as a small social inconvenience. Research in social neuroscience shows that social rejection, or even the anticipation of it, activates many of the same neural pathways as physical pain. The anterior cingulate cortex, the area involved in processing distress, lights up. The nervous system shifts into threat mode. For some people, that activation is mild and fleeting. For others, it's intense and immediate. If you're someone who fears disappointing others, your brain may be especially attuned to social cues, micro-expressions, tone changes, pauses. You don't consciously decide to monitor them. Your nervous system just does. And when you sense disappointment, your body moves toward repair. You apologize quickly. You over-explain. You promise to do better. You take responsibility for things that may not even be yours. Not because you're weak, not because you lack boundaries, but because somewhere along the way, your system learned that relational harmony equals safety. This often begins earlier than people think. In childhood, our brains are shaped by patterns, not just dramatic events, patterns. If approval felt conditional, if love felt warmer when you performed well, behaved well, achieved well, if tension in the room felt heavy and unpredictable, your nervous system may have adapted. Some children adapt by withdrawing, some by rebelling, some by becoming hyper-independent, and some adapt by becoming exquisitely attuned to others' expectations. They learn, consciously or not, if I don't disappoint, I stay connected. If I stay connected, I'm safe. Over time, this strategy can become part of your identity. You might be known as the dependable one, the peacekeeper, the one who doesn't cause problems. But inside, there can be a constant low-level vigilance, a scanning, a subtle bracing against the possibility of letting someone down. It's important to say this clearly. This pattern isn't better or worse than any other adaptation. It's not more mature. It's not more damaged. It's simply one way a human nervous system learns to survive in its environment. Some people cope with relational stress by distancing, some by asserting control, some by numbing, some by pleasing. None of these are moral categories. They are strategies. And the fear of disappointing others is a deeply relational one. Here's where it gets more layered. Often, the fear isn't actually about the specific mistake. It's not about being late, or forgetting a detail, or saying the wrong thing. It's about what disappointment means. For someone else, another person's disappointment might register as, "They're annoyed, we'll talk later." For you, it might register as, "I failed, I'm less valued now, something between us has shifted." The brain doesn't just fear the emotion of disappointment, it fears the rupture of connection. There's a paradox here. The very thing that makes you afraid of disappointing others is also likely the thing that makes you deeply empathetic. You feel shifts quickly. You care about impact. You think about how your behavior affects the room. You're often the one who anticipates needs before they're spoken. That sensitivity is not accidental. It's a skill your nervous system refined over years. But it comes with a quiet cost. When your energy is directed outward towards managing other people's expectations, it can become harder to locate your own. You might say yes before you've checked in with yourself. You might feel responsible for emotions that were never yours to carry. You might struggle to tell the difference between genuine accountability and reflexive self-blame. And because this pattern has been with you for so long, it can feel like your personality. I'm just like this. But patterns shaped by experience can feel innate, even when they're adaptive responses. Another layer that often goes unnoticed, people who fear disappointing others are frequently hardest on themselves. The external fear mirrors an internal standard. If you hold yourself to high expectations, it makes sense that you'd assume others do too. Your brain predicts disappointment because it already knows how to generate it internally. None of this means you're fragile. In fact, many people with this pattern are remarkably competent, responsible, high-achieving, trusted. But competence doesn't cancel out the nervous system's fear of relational rupture. And here's something quietly freeing. Disappointment in healthy relationships is survivable, not catastrophic, not identity-destroying, just a moment of misalignment. If your body reacts as if it's more than that, it doesn't mean you're dramatic. It means your system learned long ago that misalignment carried higher stakes. You are not broken for feeling this way. Your vigilance makes sense in the context of your history. Your sensitivity makes sense in the context of your wiring. The way your chest tightens when someone seems off with you, that's not weakness. That's a nervous system trying to protect connection the only way it knows. And there is something deeply human about wanting to matter enough that your actions affect other people. The goal isn't to stop caring. It's not to become indifferent to impact. It's not to swing to the opposite extreme. It's simply to begin noticing the difference between real responsibility and inherited fear. To recognize when your body is reacting to an old template rather than a present reality. That recognition alone can soften something, because once you see the pattern, it's no longer invisible. It becomes something you can hold with curiosity instead of shame. If this felt uncomfortably familiar, there's likely more beneath it. Patterns about worth, about safety, about how your nervous system learned to equate harmony with survival. And understanding those patterns doesn't change who you are. It just helps you see yourself more clearly. If you'd like to explore that further, stay with me. There's more here than most people ever pause long enough to notice.